felt a great disturbance in the Force, as if millions of voices suddenly cried out in terror and were suddenly silenced.
Star Wars right now? It's like a bloke in thongs on a wet roof. You know it's going down. You're just waiting to see how bad it gets. And somehow, the entire franchise is being held together by a tiny green goblin who eats frogs and passes out mid-fight. And Disney just gave him a $200 million movie. G'day, viewers, and welcome to the Hollywood Menace. If you still care about Star Wars, you're in the right place. Because this next movie, it's a test. Once upon a time, Star Wars was untouchable. We're talking A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. And look, I actually worked at Lucasfilm during the prequel era. Yeah, people ripped into those films back then. But what did they give us? Darth Maul, Yoda finally going full warrior mode, Obi-Wan versus Anakin, Duel of the Fates, the pod race. Those moments stuck. Now ask yourself, what moments from the sequels hit like that? Or perhaps a better question is, why did a billion-dollar franchise lose half its audience in one trilogy? Let's be honest. The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, The Rise of Skywalker should have been a guaranteed win for Disney. Instead, no plan, different directors, rewrites. One film sets things up, the next one tears it down. The last one tries to fix everything in 2 hours. That's not storytelling, that's damage control. Now look, Rey had huge potential, but her journey felt rushed. Kylo Ren was the best character perhaps in all the trilogy, but was pulled in so many different directions in every single film. And then Palpatine just magically comes back. No setup, somehow he returned. That line says everything. Now let's talk about some of the legacy damage of Disney Star Wars. Han Solo is killed off before he has a reunion on screen with Luke and Leia. That's ridiculous. Luke becomes a completely different character to how he's portrayed in the original trilogy. And Leia has no real closure because of the unfortunate death of Carrie Fisher. Fans didn't just dislike it, they completely checked out. Now, viewers, when we look at the box office performance of The Force Awakens, it was absolutely a massive hit for Disney. By the time of The Rise of Skywalker, however, the box office receipts were nearly half of that. That's not normal. That's trust collapsing. That's your fan base exiting en masse. Then along comes a potential lifeline for Disney Star Wars. Grogu from The Mandalorian. No division, no drama, just character, and suddenly people actually cared again. He struggles, he learns, he fails. He's basically a tiny chaos gremlin trying not to eat something dangerous. And somehow he feels more real than half the galaxy. Now we've got the new film, The Mandalorian and Grogu. And this is it. The real test for Disney Star Wars. Will people actually show up at the theater? You've trained audiences to watch this at home on Disney+. Now you want them in the theater with a $200 million budget. This needs to hit hard for Disney. Now, the early box office tracking for this film is coming in at $70 million for the opening weekend. That is appalling, atrocious, absolutely diabolically bad for Disney. This film should be opening well above $100 million on opening weekend domestically alone. Now, I think there's a few things we can look at why the tracking is so abysmal in this film. The trailers that Disney has released so far haven't blown anyone away. And the Super Bowl one was absolutely ridiculous, trying to replicate a Budweiser commercial. And the other elephant in the room is Pedro Pascal fatigue. He's been in everything lately. It feels like he was in 85 movies last year. And here's the really wild part, boys and girls. The future of Star Wars doesn't belong to a Jedi. It doesn't belong to a Sith. It belongs to a 50-year-old green toddler who steals snacks and passes out mid-fight. They brought back Luke, Han, Leia, and somehow it still didn't feel like real Star Wars. So now the question is, can Grogu fix what they broke? Now, The Mandalorian Grogu isn't something we've seen in a long time. It's actually the first new Star Wars movie in over 6 years, and it's the first one without Kathleen Kennedy at the helm of Lucasfilm. Which means this isn't just another release. This is a full reset attempt by Disney, and it's a test of whether Star Wars can course correct, the audience still cares, or if the damage Kathleen Kennedy has done over the last decade has already doomed Star Wars. Let's see if Grogu is the savior that Disney actually needs. All right, that's all we have time for today, viewers. I would love to read your comments about The Mandalorian and Grogu, what you think of the future of Star Wars. Will this movie be a hit? Will it be a flop? Will it be the start of something new and exciting at Disney Star Wars? Or potentially the end? This is the Hollywood Menace. Thanks for stopping by and listening. Until next time, ta-ta and farewell.